wonderful Dennis. Dennis, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great, and this is the final set of the day, and we have who's that? Popeyes going up against Eanix. So I'll just go through the roster really quickly. On the side of okay. On the side of Popeyes, we have Aeon 222, Tezaboy 98, Chingy, Alzor, and Zarano. And on the side, this is my favorite team actually. On the side of Eanix, we have Rubber Monkey, Langry UD, Troppies, Truffless, and Kosh.
Not being biased at all there, but this is your favorite team. Okay, nice to know. So for this first draft, obviously we've seen a lot of emphasis on Baron and Grace, and I wouldn't expect there to be much of a difference because Grace, with the heal she can provide, even though she hasn't got that much CC, obviously has a slow with her basic attacks and a stun, which is extremely hard to hit. Grace is actually a pretty simple hero to play, except for that Holy Nova stun as her B. That is one of the hardest abilities to actually land, except from Flicker's Binding Light. That's one of the hardest abilities to land in the game.
Yeah, but the problem with Grace being picked up so far, we're seeing is that she hasn't been played to the fullest potential. Like we saw a one-hit Grace, that didn't quite fared well, although it was expected to be. And we saw a couple of Captain Grace here and there. We saw one that went for the fountain into Shatterglass and to Echo. That was okay. But then we saw again another fountain into Crucible and then Shatterglass. That was right? So, I'm really looking forward to what the teams will bring. So, do the honors.
Yeah, so the draft is ready and we are now going to go into the draft.
So going into draft, I'm expecting, like you said, like a lot of emphasis on Baron and that of Grace. I'm not surprised if Baron gets banned up, but then I wanted to say that Baron hasn't been priority banned for the last few games.
It's been that people are wanting, instead of just ban Baron straight away, they just want to see, maybe we can pick it up, maybe we're going to try and counter it if they pick it up and play the game around that. The Popeyes are just going, we don't want to play it, we don't want you to play it, we're just going to ban it away straight away, because if you're not comfortable on playing Baron as Team A, the best idea is probably to ban away. And Grumpjaw being bad, this is a much this is the kind of drafting we've seen when 2.5 was the patch played, and also very early on in 2.6 when people were still afraid of Baron and Grumpjaw, but we have seen Grumpjaw be not banned or picked in a lot of games today.
Yep, definitely. I mean, for all the games, if I'm not wrong, but Grumpjaw is still strong. No doubt. He has went through certain changes to his passive, but he is still a strong, reliable flex pick per se. But a lot of Grumpjaws we are seeing now actually just go for the tension bow, double tyrants Monaco. But anyways, we are actually seeing a rather unique pickup on that Fortress. Yeah,
Fortress hasn't been picked a lot, at all, because he seems he's good as a captain, but his Crystal Power Path got nerfed a couple of patches ago, so he hasn't seen that much use as a Aftershock Broken Myth kind of Crystal Power hero. I think this is a composition that Eanix have in mind, and they they definitely want to try something, thinking that obviously Mortal Wounds from Fortress into the Lyra is a good idea, but maybe they've definitely got a composition they want to try that probably counters the meta Grace Fox quite well.
Yeah, but the problem with Fortress and Fortress usually picked up with, say, Rona, and both of these heroes, no doubt physics would say they are really good. They are really good heroes, but then they are such niche pick. It is commonly not seen at all. So we actually do see an Adagio being banned out. That ban on Adagio is kind of, I'm not sure. I think there are better bans out there like Batiste, even Grace or Idris, because of or even just a mage if you're afraid of going to a mage, because as a Fortress you really just want to engage and dive into the back lines, but then if there's a mage, there's a poke comp coming out, then you might actually have problem doing that. So I'm not sure of the Adagio banned out, because honestly with Lyra being the main sustain coming out from the side of Popeyes, I don't see why. Yeah, I don't see why Adagio should be banned out.
I think Adagios, they seem to have their own kind of idea, own kind of meta they want to play with. obviously Grumjaw, Fortress, and Arjo, haven't seen them banned or picked in any of the other games today. So Eanix definitely have got their own idea. Idris is a great pick, because if they didn't pick Idris, say they picked someone like Ringo or Gwen or another laner there, then they would have been given over Idris Grace, which as a combination is... Idris Grace Lyra is a combination that is so hard to counter, because the double heal onto someone like Idris who could burst pretty much anyone down is really hard to play against. They're going to go for the Kestrel. Kestrel's seen probably going to play Weapon. Weapon Kestrel is one of the best carries to try and counter Idris. If you need to go as a ranged carry, you want to go Kestrel, because you can go invisible, get a pretty reliable stun onto Idris, because you know exactly where Idris is going to dive in.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go for a more tanky jungler, because if they go for a triple squishy, that would not be the best idea. They're probably going to go someone like Alpha. Maybe a Crystal Glaive could work.
Yeah,
or even go pure.
I'm actually
damage.
expecting a Glaive, because Glaive into a Castro, a Glaive with a Castro and a Lyra provides so much utility for the Castro to just deal a lot of damage in a very short period of time. But I don't think they are actually would be going for that Glaive, and they would probably opt for the triple squishy. But like you said earlier on, Idris is just so good in triple squishies, because for triple squishies you really just need to poke down the enemy. So there you have it. So it is the infamous impunity comp, the triple squishy weapon Castro, or even double CP, and a Lyra just providing with all the sustain. And I think this particular
attacker here. Attacker here.
I'm not surprised at all.
I think Udai loves Taka. He plays it really well, but the draft's been paused, not quite short to pick. Might have been some difficulty there, but Taka would, against double squishy, even though he's kind of countered by Lyra, Taka does extremely well into Kestrel and into Scarf, because he can dodge over a Goop, maybe dodge a Spitfire, and he excels at bursting down squishies, and they've got a triple squishy comp. So they could feasibly do someone like a Sky, but I don't think that'd be a great pick. Sky's normally picked just as a comfort pick. I think they should really go for an assassin, and as Koshka would have a bit of trouble against Lyra, Koshka trying to win the early game, but Lyra really helps them not win the early game. I think Taka would be a great pick.
Yep, definitely. I do have to agree with you. Seeing the Grumjaw and the Daja Ben, I'm not surprised, especially the Grumjaw Ben, I'm not surprised if they are going to opt to go for it, Taka. I mean, they obviously have a combination or a team comp already in their head. So, they have a Fortress picked up, they have Idris, if they go ahead and pick up this Taka, then they have the Engage help. They actually go for the Black Feather, and it's equally a good pick. Except for the fact that, the entirety of the team comp, it's counted by one Bright Bulwark, a good Bright Bulwark, of course, from Lyra on the side of Popeyes.
Yeah, the Crystal Black Feather it's more about poke. Obviously, Crystal Black Feather does a lot of damage with his on points before the team fight happens, and so they're going for the idea of we're going to try and poke down whoever we can, Kestrel or Scarf. Then Idris will engage and burst them down, with Fortress obviously being able to keep up, because Fortress can very high move speed and gets with his pack mates who are hurt, gets a lot of move speed by being around his allies. But I think it would have been a better idea to go for someone who just wants to dive in. Yeah. So obviously Blackfeather does want to dive in, but as Crystal, he wants to. Maybe he's going to say Weapon Blackfeather and Crystal Idris. That could work even better, actually.
Yeah,
Crystal Idris will scale extremely well. Weapon Blackfeather is all about dive. So that I'd love to see a Crystal Idris and Weapon Blackfeather for this comp.
Honestly, I'd love to see a Crystal Idris as well, because it hasn't been quite played, because it's such a niche hero, or rather a niche pathway to go for the Crystal Idris path. But just looking at this team comp, if they are going to opt for the Crystal Black Feather, for poke-wise, they actually do lose to this Kestrel and that of Scarf as well. So I'm not sure that the team comp that's coming into the folds from the side of Eanix, but I really do hope to see a Crystal Idris, like you said, and a Weapon Black Feather. But however wise, both of these team comps looked rather unique, and they haven't been quite seen in this past few matches as well. Triple poke, triple squishy comp going up against an absolute dive comp. I mean, Idris with a stab, with a Shimmer Strike, you just really want to go in, assassinate, take out one individual target, move on to the next one, like we saw in the previous game, and then you have Black Feather that wants to dive in as well. But if this goes for a Crystal Black Feather, then that Black Feather would have to poke from afar. But then if you're going to go do the poke game, you are definitely going to lose to Lara once she has like a 3 like overdrive her ultimate, or even just Scarf and Castro in the early game.
Yeah, there's a triple ranged comp against a triple melee comp, so you have almost no chance of beating them in a poke war. Obviously, Chakram will do a lot of damage, even if he does decide to go weapon. The Chakram does a lot of damage on that path if they don't build defense on you. But Scarf Spitfire is up far more often, and Kestrel's Glimmer Shots are up far more often. And Glyver's basic attacks will do. Fortress won't be able to do anything. He either has to go all in or not fight. And so, yeah, I think they will probably have a slightly superior draft if they go for the Crystal Idris and Weapon Black Feather. Because Crystal Idris, obviously Scarf wants to ramp to late game and wants to get items, wants to get damage and levels. And Crystal Idris, if you get 4 items on him, which you generally see, you don't see double defense with Crystal Idris, he's almost unstoppable. Because he has 100% crystal power scaling on basic attacks once they when they become ranged.
Yeah.
He unlocks that with either a Frostburn and a Crystal Bit, or with the Shatterglass. Is a really good way to unlock Idris's diversion pass. But yeah,
definitely. But
Crystal Black Feather just doesn't seem like it will work at this comp.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. Just looking at comps alone, Crystal Black Feather is definitely something that wouldn't quite work out, especially into a triple poke comp, because as a Crystal Black Feather, you are just going to stand by the sidelines and just poke and poke and poke till, they are low enough. And then you go in, with a Feint of Heart or Rose Offensive just to go in and just to execute someone. Whereas if you are going for the weapon one, you can actually just stay and stick to the burst comp, or just be on top of Castro or Scarf, and then you can do all the damage that you need to do. So just we can only guess at this point in time. So we are already jumping into the fold. If you were to choose, which comp do you actually prefer?
I prefer the Idris, because Idris is a great counter to most ranged carries. And so they didn't go for because Black Feather into Idris is a very much a skill matchup. If they'd have picked, instead of picking Kestrel, if they'd have picked Black Feather, it would have been who can land their poke and who can dive in and sustain for longer. Black Feather generally beats Idris in a sustained battle, but Idris will beat any ranged hero because he can dive on top of them. And we are going to see the Crystal Black Feather and Weapon Idris.
We are going to see the Crystal Black Feather, yeah. We are going to see the Crystal.
Harder now.
It will be, but I think it's really because Crystal Idris is just not very meta at the moment, and we know in Southeast Asians we generally just go for the meta builds and whatever that's stronger, almost like our comfort picks to say. So with a Crystal Black Feather, I really just want to say I prefer the team comp coming out from the side of Popeyes, and just look at it. We have a Weapon Castro, and then CP Scarf, or Scarf, of course, going CP. But then I was actually expecting, or maybe even double CP comp, because of how the active camo is going to work out for Castro. If Aeon on this Castro goes CP and just run a double CP comp.
Yeah, the problem with double CP is that CP Castro in lane is really hard to farm effectively with, because you need to either use your Glimmer Shots to farm, which costs you an awful lot of energy, or you need to try and farm with basics, which is extremely hard to do. Trophies on this on Idris will be able to do a lot of work as weapon, but yeah, I definitely they've made their job a little bit harder, because the poke from Aeon and Scarf will be hard to contend with. So Eanix's win position here is going to be dive in before the poke can start, because if they're going to let Black Feather poke for a bit. If they do that, they've also let in Scarf and Kestrel. So it's going to be more of a Crystal Black Feather's going to secure the kills with his on point, as opposed to poke them down. Because obviously you can secure kills quite easily with that, doing hundreds of damage from quite a long range, especially once into level 8.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we're just looking at lane right now. Both of them, we have Lyra just sitting in lane, just trying to poke down this Idris, but then not forgetting, when Idris was first released, a lot of people are actually saying that Idris is Black Feather 2.0 because of how his kit works, or maybe not even 2.0, but maybe just on par with Black Feather's kit. So honestly, we can only wait till late game, or they are actually preparing for a fight right now.
Aeon's going to take a lot of damage. Can't get the camera off yet, but Fortress is under turret and snared and slowed. What a disengage from Popeyes there. Aeon just boots, not having boots, so he's just running away, trying to get out, and Shingy getting the goop onto Fortress and not igniting it. The Fortress was staying under turret, couldn't use his abilities to jump away because he was all by lucky dice. He's going to boot away and just about get away, so we can't quite get the basic attack off and and then Fortress couldn't get away, couldn't get onto a minion, jump onto a minion. He was stuck inside the bulwark, and then the goop from Scarf meant he couldn't walk away either. So he's well played. Now there's a little bit of sleep going on.
Yeah, I must say, I agree with that. It's taken down low. I agree with that. It's actually picked up by Lyra. So, I was saying earlier on how, just Fortress alone as a pickup. It's such a difficult pickup to go against a triple poke comp because you really just want to engage, and yet a triple poke comp can just deter your engagement because by the time you actually jump into the back lines or even just to Lyra alone, you are already taken down low. Excuse me. So then also Fortress's power spike comes only when he gets his ultimate, and before that he is really a squishy hero, and he do not provide much team utility as well, besides your mortal wound and what have you not. But then you have to understand, with your mortal wound comes you best effectively apply mortal wound when you actually do have your wounds up when you're 6. Whereas if you are just going to count on your B to inflict mortal wound, or rather your A to inflict mortal wound, then it is going to take like 5 basic attacks.
Yeah, and it's much harder to apply, but I think Idris is very likely to get a Poison Shiv as second or third item, just to try and counter the healing from Lyra. And it's not a bad item when it's just any stretch, gives a nice bit of attack speed and some sustained lane. Scarf rotating up, Scarf can clear the jungle really quickly, so she's free to rotate up the lane and get some poke down to Scuffy. Scuffy's going very low. Scarf's now probably going to ignite that goop and try and poke the turret down quite low. So it's going to be back to that, quick to use the right bulwark just to make sure he can't go too deep. Chicky taking a lot of pokes from that chakram. It's just showing that if you don't build defense, he is going to poke you down with from afar. Scuffy's taking a bit of poke to get the Scarf Spitfire. He's going to try and farm under turret as best he can, but there's nothing on the turret. Triple shot from them. Both getting a double shot. Shingy's probably going to get this turret very low with that goop. Scarf with excellent neutral objective damage. His neutral objectives don't tend to move much. Turrets are locked in place, so your goop is going to land its full duration. And with Scarf getting changed, so the goop does more damage if they stay in it for longer. That just increases her objective damage. And Truffy is going to just push this wave and probably pour home and pick up a Solar Blade to get his diversion paths unlocked.
Yep, definitely. I mean, just look at team combos alone. Like we said, the Crystal Idris will work so much better in this comp because of the amount of poke coming out and the sustain as well. I mean, granted, you have Mortal Wound on Fortress, and then Idris will probably be building into a Poison Shift just to counter the amount of sustain. Oh, the first turret actually goes down. Ching is taken down low.
Ching is going to fall quite low, but the Imperial Sigil is going to heal up quite nicely. And Eanix really wanted to they also try and defend that turret, but they just can't do it against this poke comp. This Scarf can poke turrets down from outside of the range. And that's going to be a nice scoop to just blink out of that. He's going to try and get some Spitfire poke, but good dodging from Chuffies is making sure that you're not going to get poked down by the Scarf. Yeah, there was not the best engage from Popeyes, because obviously they were under turret trying to take it down, but Eanix couldn't really capitalise because they don't have the competition yet. With Truffy's not with an ultimate, means he can't dive on top of Scarf that effectively, and Truffy's going to try and get return to it, but just going to blink away, not wanting to get too caught out. Chingy's still got her backs up, want to probably rotate to get that, and both teams just backing off. But there was a nice gold lead for Popeyes, about 2,000 gold at the moment, which for a Scarf is extremely good. Yeah,
I mean, we are seeing Eve of Harvest being picked up on Scarf just around 5th minute mark, and granted, it's not like out of this world to actually pick up your Eve of Harvest then, but we see the objective, the ability to take an objective with this particular comp. I mean, we have Fortress, we have Lyra, and then we have Castro and Scarf. All three, I must say, all three are really good at taking down objectives. And the only reason, because like you said earlier on, that Scarf is such good because objectives do not quite move from the Spitfire, or rather the goop, and that's taking the full damage from the ability itself. So, I'm just really waiting for the later on into the team fight when Fortress gets 6 and then have the attack of the packs. And I just want to see how it all plays out. Yeah, because at this point in time, Fortress is just sitting back, can't really force an engagement, because by the time he goes into like 3 off Popeyes, he'll be taken down really, really low. So, yeah.
We haven't really seen the poke from Vainglory yet. He's picked up a Shattered Glass, probably working towards broken mid-second item, but his poke is going to be very significant because Crystal Blackfeather doesn't do much in the early game. He hasn't really tried to test this Scarf, or Scarf's been pushing and rotating up to lane an awful lot of Singy, and he gets Spitfire Goop combo into Truffy's. Truffy's going about a third of health loss there, and Blackfeather really can start actually doing a poke war and actually almost winning. She's going to be caught up by a scout trap, and Udai's just going to walk through, and Aeon's going to try and mess it down, but there's the damage from Blackfeather as we saw, 350 poke. That is just healed up by the sigil from Lyra. Now that they're going to try and get the gold mine, a couple of players on it, so Eanix no, unfortunately to try and steal it, and Scarf will secure that. Blackfeather not quite getting it with the on point. That was a risky play from Popeyes. They know they're against Crystal Blackfeather, who's amazing at stealing objectives away from you with that on point massive damage. It just got positive, good damage to Kestrel. Kestrel's going to go in stealth, but he's not going to get stunned. He's going to boot his way under turret, and there's been an attack back used on Fortress. Shingy is under sentry, Shingy will be fine. The boy and Aeon just going to heal up in that sigil, and that was a not really great engage from Eanix there. They tried their absolute best. It just jumped in on top of Kestrel, did as much damage as he could. Fortress attack of the pack used, but they could just back off Popeyes, Siggy backing off to Sentry, and Eon backing off to Turret, and then they could just use the Lyra and Peel Sigil to heal back up to full health, and the engage is over.
Yeah, honestly, I really hope to see Popeyes playing, in a more aggressive front, instead of just playing passive, just farming up. Only reason because they can actually outpoke the side of Popeyes, outpoke the side of Eanix, and if they actually get low because of this Black Feather and he's on point, then Imperial Sigil is there to just heal all of them up.
Yeah, and the Scarf poke onto the tower. There's a lot of poke from Black Feather. It's going to be healed up by Lyra 9, but Temple is quite low. Imperial Sigil isn't up as often as Black Feather's on point. Black Feather can poke Aeon down quite low, not quite going to land that one. And there were infusions for all the carries at the moment. All decided that this is a good time to fight back, and steals that in straight away with no vision. It's quite impressive. And Lyra's ported home. That is not the most opportune moment. If Idris gets to clear this wave, or Kestrel's not in the best position, there's going to be engagement Fortress and a flare to catch him out. Ultimate for the trophies, just to make sure. Lyra ported home, Kestrel thinking they might be in the bush, didn't go through it, but still going to get caught out. Fortress and Idris are really good at sticking stuff. Your attack pack is used to try and spot out where Shingy is. They now know, and they're just going to use that to secure the turret. Rob Monkey tanks the turret, with using that fortified health from the attack of the pack to make sure he can tank it quite well, and that was much better engaged from Eanix. So they're catching out Kestrel, getting a flare as soon as she tries to go active camo, and then Trophies can easily stay on top of and kill Kestrel with Trophies actually having weapon power defense.
Yep, definitely.
That Kestrel would have no chance of killing him before.
I mean, just looking at fights alone, we actually do see Robert Monkey now coming back up to become more relevant in the fights and in the game itself because of the ulti from Fortress itself. So Fortress's ulti is such a good key, or rather, such a good engaged tool to just go in, especially against triple squishy comp. No doubt, the side of a Popeyes can actually just break them down or slowly poke them down to close to 0 health. But then we have to consider the fact that they are, however, just 3 squishy heroes, and it's quite easy if all your on point lands and even Idris just shimmer striking in, and then probably just just throwing a chakram and then shimmer striking in, you probably could actually take down just one major carry from the side of Popeyes.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going to be a gold mine going over to Popeyes. There is no contest it's not known about, and they will find out now, but a bit too late. And Eanix really need to do that again. They need to catch out Kestrel, and then once they've caught out Kestrel, they need to just turn on to Scarf, because if they make it a 3v2, it doesn't matter if Scarf can poke, they can just dive in and Blackfeather will not worry about dying. Blackfeather actually going for a Shattered Glass and then straight into an Aegis, which is extremely not seen a lot of Blackfeathers. Abnormal is the word. Extremely abnormal for a Blackfeather to go a full tier 3 defense item before he's even picked up a second crystal power item, and that is a horrible positioning for Eanix. The turret is gone, but the heal has already been used by Lyra. That's not the position. He's trying to use it to get a bit of a boost. He's going to go in on the thing. He's going to go very low. Arcane Lyra trying to get around, but he's not going to use it. Black Panther's going to use it instead. Now, things are not quite low, but the stun will land on the stuffies. Aeon going to boost away, but no energy to cast. Even plus they missed the moment, so Kestrel is going to fall. That will be Lyra going to fall as well, and Gudai very low, but going to pick up the kill. That is an ace for Eanix. That was not a good position for them, but maybe that was their plan all along. They baited the Imperial Sigil out from Lyra. She used it a massive 500 heal, but the whole team were just full health. They'd already got the turret. They hadn't taken any poke. Lyra used it to try and disengage, try and run away, but they didn't all run away immediately. Maybe Lyra should have just Arcane Passage, try and get back towards their turret as quickly as possible. But Trophies could just get on top of the scarf, burst her down, and then seeing that Kestrel had no energy, deciding, okay, Kestrel's going to lay down one active camo trap. That's it. We can tank that, and then she won't be able to lay down anymore because she hasn't got any energy. So it's a great engage from Eanix to go for the scarf in that fight instead of Kestrel.
Definitely. And also one more thing that I'd like to point out is actually the use of Attack of the Pack on Rubber Monkey. I mean, a lot of people actually use Attack of the Pack first before going into for the engage. But the problem with that is that, you know, the other team can actually disengage. After disengaging, kill off your wolves and then come back and re-engage again. Yeah. But then, you know, for Rubber Monkey, he actually jumps in with his A and then start using his wolves. By the time, you know, all of his team, his entire team is already in the fight with the opponent team, and then, you know, they had to either choose between killing the wolves or taking the main carries down on the side of Eanix. And just look at the builds alone. We see, like you said, Black Feather is quite unique for Black Feather, or rather unusual for Black Feather to build a tier 3 item, a tier 3 defense item before completing the Broken Myth. But I do understand where this comes from, because, you know, Black Feather, like a Crystal Black Feather, like said, doesn't work well into, you know, just 1v1 Chingy might actually be
coming out. I was waiting for Chingy to be caught out a little bit, and now it's going to be most offensive. Chingy is going to get the dragon off, but he's probably going to fall here, yeah. And that is Fortress actually pick up a kill, and that will be Black Feather pick up the second kill, and Lyra knows it's not in a good position. That was caught out by the gang. There's an awesome vision control by Fortress, just picking up a contraption and also picking up some scout traps. Just means that there is one lone scout trap in the middle of the fold that Popeyes have managed to put down. The rest is all Eanix. And just doing really well. So that, and he may fall, not quite going to take that extra turret shot with Monkey, almost taking too much. Yeah, it was great hide and bait from Idris as well.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, in that early on fight, Tizer Boy was actually rooted by the Treant. I'm not sure. Like, I was actually watching a team fight, and then
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Tizer Boy on this Lyra was actually rooted by the Treant. I saw the flowery thing around him. But anyways, just looking at the team fight, we were early on just saying that, you know, if they are going for the CP Black Feather, then, you know, they might actually have a harder time. But then it's only for the early game they are having a harder time. It is almost because of every ambush and engage force out by the side of Eanix. You know, they just go in, and then for a Pokecom, there is no way for them to answer and to that engage coming out from a com that wants to be in your face.
Yeah, what Popeyes need to do is they need to be sticking with Lyra and using the Arcane Passage, the Imperial Sigil, and the Bible, using it just to disengage. It's quite hard to do, obviously, against this lots of players being thrown out there by Popeyes. It's quite hard to do because they have so much engagement. Tesboy's going to use that push to try and get the boost away. Now that push is enough attack backs to be used, and they're going to run in, or it's going to be used by Lyra. At the blocked by Gudai, and Tropic is now going to get into the backline, going to take down Shingy. Bounces towards not taking life back, picking up the kill. There's no turret here. Tesboy is going to go low. Arcane Passage to try and get him away. We'll get into the Sanctuary, and Aeon, again, with no energy. The main problem with Weapon Kestrel in the current meta is that Kestrel got a nerf to the amount of energy that she has, and so as weapon you need Halcyon charges or you will run out of energy. And we're seeing Aeon here just not having enough energy to use active camos. You can't active camo, you can't run away, you can't get stuns, you can't kill them. But again, great engagement Fortress, knowing the Imperial Sigil was down, and Lyra used it to run away, so he immediately attacked the back and just jumped in. Is Aeon going to deal this graphic?
Yeah, I must say, the bright ball work on this Lyra is kind of questionable. Oh, I agree with you guys, actually taken really, really low. But, you know, then again, the bright ball work on the use of this, on Lyra, used on this Lyra was really questionable. They might actually go in for another engage right now.
Stack the max speed use. There was a stun by Kessler, it's not land. The Wolves are tanking that glimmer shot there, but there's another stun that he's known about, so I reckon Shuff is going to run around it. That is a Dragon's on a few birds Scarf, but it's not enough damage. Popeyes is going very low, and they will fall, but they will get the return on Fortress. Scarf getting a double kill. Shingy doing awesome with his Dragon's Breath. That is the nice kill to try and heal up Shingy. Angular going low. He's going to go into Sensible with that faint apart to try and get an on point on Shingy, but he's actually gone through the Fortress to get Lyra. One on point is going to land. Shingy's going to have to boost towards the Sanctuary. Shingy getting a double kill, but will it be enough? I think Unite is very low, but he's got an on point to try and get the barrier. Shingy's going to go in, going to group onto the Kraken, try and get as much damage onto the Kraken as you can. Unite going to get some poke onto the turret. Unite going to back off. Actually, it looks like he's going to go for the win. Unite Keshler is up in 1 second. This is not the best position for you. He's just going to back off. And he has got a very expensive chance to get over the wall, and he will get out. Kraken will not get this turret, I don't think. Shingy with far too much damage to that, and the one shot one kill just goes slightly wide. Unite actually brought it slightly to the left of where Aeon shot. Actually, that meant the Kraken got the turret. Aeon going for the one shot, meaning he did not have the damage onto Kraken, and just barely getting that last main turret. So that is exposed vein for Popeyes.
Yeah, I mean, we have actually seen a triple squishy comp coming out before, and all just relying on Tezza Boys, or rather, Lyra's Imperial Sigils. But then the problem with that is that, I think the side of Eanix actually do know the comp they're trying to go for, and the comp they are going for, and thus just picked up a triple melee comp. And triple melee comp does so well if you can avoid all the poke and just hard engage into triple squishes, because firstly they have no answer to you, like I've been saying, and I think at first Fortress is a rather questionable pickup, only because he's only in the fight itself, or rather he's only relevant when he gets his ultimate, and it's really up to Rubber Monkey how he's going to force this engage or just engage on the enemy, because if you're going to use attack of the pack and then your A afterwards, it'll be too late, because they can just disengage, etc. If you are actually going to just go in and then in the midst of the fight use attack of the pack, that would actually give you more use or more bang for your buck.
Yeah, they're definitely just waiting. As soon as they see Lyra use the Imperial Sigil for a speed boost, not for a heal, they immediately engage, knowing that heal's not for another 5 seconds. And in that 5 seconds, they reckon they can burst someone down. And they're getting pretty close. Droppies is doing a lot of damage onto Kestrel. Kestrel with no weapon power defense, only difference on Black Pepper. And there's Imperial Sigil, so now that's the engage going to come back from Rubber Monkey. War Tread's used on the attack of the pack. So they will go on. They actually go for Kestrel. Kestrel's going to get blown up. Bouncing will just like it, but like turning it around with that camo. And this is going to be a route onto Scarf and onto the... He's not going to block the route, he just cannot. And that is going to be an ace going over for Popeyes. They've turned it around. Fortune's trying to run away. Shingy needs one more basic attack to finish off the kill. They will get the double kill. And that will be Kraken and probably the tier 3 turret going down.
Wow,
what a turnaround. That was just Scarf and Kestrel playing so well.
Yeah, that was because of the active camo placed under both Iron Grey You Die and then Truffle, stunning out both enemies, both of them. They are. I mean, I'm not surprised. They have enough damage to actually just go for the win. Oh, yeah, they are just backing off. They are going to back off, yeah.
I think it might, because it took so long to kill Fortress, they probably were too scared to take the Kraken. But they may just try and sneak it out. But the amount of vision that is there, Tesbo's got a lot of vision to do if they want to actually try and take this Kraken.
Yep. They will have to try to take this Kraken. But even then, with the amount of damage coming out from the side of Popeyes, I'm not surprised if, they can actually secure this Kraken before, or they can just hard engage.
And the ultimate use for Lyra, and the Atlas is just a Kraken like around the sky, Scarf, and it's a lot of damage. Scarf is going very low. Scarf is going to fall, and he does going down to Kestrel. Scarf has got no health left. He's going to get away just about, but that'll be. Now got his barrier. He's going to go in on Kestrel, and he will just get hit on the face attack. Scarf is not getting his ground step in time. He reckoned he could have done it. He had vision on Kestrel in the bush. He just had to wait a little bit longer, get his shroud step off, go in, kill Kestrel, and they probably could have turned it around and got the win because the vein is exposed, but Aeon just doing too much damage and getting the one basic technique, and that will be game going over to Popeyes. What a fight.
That was quite an interesting game to actually witness firsthand, because honestly, I actually thought that the side of Eanix had it all along because of how they are, having really good engages, but it was just one team fight that turned it all around. I mean, just even look at the goal difference. Popeyes is actually ahead in goal for Eanix, but then before that, Eanix was ahead. Like, I think it was by 4,000 goal-ish.
It was a massive goal lead.
Yeah, and then now, just one team fight alone, Popeyes actually managed to turn around, and it was all because of Aeon and a really crucial active camo placed under Iron Ryu Die. And as for the second fight, it was Iron Ryu Die trying to tank up, Dragon's Breath coming out from Chingy, which I don't think is a really smart idea or a smart move to make. Just going through, through the build itself. It's all pretty standard. There is really nothing much. It was down to execution in the previous fight and in the previous match as well. So, I'm really excited to see what both of these teams, like we were talking off stream, how good both of these teams are, and it will be an exciting match to watch. And they haven't disappointed.
Yeah, what we really saw there was Scarf getting to late game. And when we say late game, we mean like proper late game when Scarf's got almost all of her items and can Dragon's Breath and almost pretty much delete whoever she wants to focus. And she deleted the Black Feather in that game. And even in the last team fight, even though Scarf died, she got Black Feather and got Idris low enough that Kestrel could just finish off the kill. And I still think that Crystal Idris would have done better because
Definitely,
Crystal Idris will outscale the Scarf. Because he gets 4 items, because he's in lane, he gets items much, much quicker than Scarf will, and then he'd have been able to finish off the kill. But even so, the competition they went, it was literally about half a second. If he'd have Shroud stepped half a second earlier, Kestrel wouldn't have got the kill with the basic attack, Aegis would have got the kill, and he would have won the game. So just a margin of such slight margins just won the game for Popeyes there.
Yep, definitely. But again, it all went down to execution. Both of these team comps, they have got their pros and cons. Nothing too bad for either side or nothing too good as well. I mean, all their cons are quite glaring and their pros is as well. They've got really good engage on the side of Eanix, and on the side of Popeyes, they've got really good poke. So it's either it really just goes down to execution, whether or not Popeyes can poke down the side of Eanix before Eanix get to them, or whether or not Eanix can go in and onto Popeyes before they are poked down. And at the end of the day, the side of Popeyes actually decided that they would not want to try the poke game. They just allow the engage to happen, come to them, and then they just do whatever they can in their means to stop the engage and come out on top of the engage. And that was what that happened.
Yeah, definitely. And it was interesting in the draft that obviously there was not a lot of emphasis on the meta picks from Eanix because they went obviously Grumpjaw, Fortress, and Adagio as their first couple of bans and picks. Yeah. But Grace wasn't picked or banned at all in that game. So it'd be interesting to see if they decide that Grace isn't worth playing, or if they're gonna decide no, the heal from Lyra basically pretty much won them that game because they could just out-sustain us. Maybe we should go for Grace to try and out-heal the Lyra because Grace has an extremely strong heal as we've seen in the first couple of games.
In pure sigil, it's much more of a reliable heal because it's up so short, like 5 seconds at overdrive, and also the burst of heal and the movement speed itself. Whereas when Grace is trying to heal his teammates with divine intervention, what happens is that there is a delay, a really short delay of 1.5 seconds. Granted, you actually grant more burst heal, but then we saw Lyra early on actually healing 515 heal for all 3 teammates. So as compared that to Grace, when she can only do like in 1.5 seconds or with 3 seconds with Echo, close to 2.2 thousand heal. It's a fair trade-off, but then, the immobility of Grace when she's just standing there channeling her ulti makes her in a very vulnerable position.
Yeah, and Lyra has much more utility of when she uses the heal and how she can use the heal, obviously giving a speed boost, and Lyra is so mobile. Lyra and Lance are the 2 heroes that are the hardest to kill if you need to chase down a captain. Unless you're Sky into Arden, then it's quite hard. But they could just have so much mobility. Like Lyra can just Arcane Passage, Bulwark, and Sigil all to try and run away from you. And it's really hard to chase the Lyra down. But they did decide to just turn and fight. Instead of trying to run away and poke, they just went, okay, we're going to Dragon's Breath. If you're standing next to me, I'll just Dragon's Breath and kill all 3 of you at once. Yep,
definitely. And also one thing about Dragon Breath, it ignites Goop as well. And in the previous fight, they actually Scarf actually dropped a Goop and then use Dragon Breath. Anyway, draft is ready. I think our players are ready, so do the honors.
So without further ado, we are going to go into the draft.
So we are starting draft now. I don't think Team Eanix would actually still go with their comp, because that comp was it was almost as if they knew what Popeyes is going to bring out, triple squishy, and that is why they reacted with that comp. So we are seeing the classic Baron banned out from the side of Eanix. Eanix is now on the blue side, and on the red side, we have a Team Popeye. So then we have a Lyra banned out as well. So it's quite a clever ban. It's quite standard meta ban. A Baron followed by a Lyra. I'm not surprised if Vox actually getting picked out here, because Vox is just the next.
Vox would be a good idea. I think Grumpjaw is like to be picked, because we saw Eanix putting a lot of emphasis first banning Grumpjaw because they decided that Baron wasn't picked, and they don't want to play against Grumpjaw. They're actually going to go for their Arden, so that must just be a comfort pick captain. They went for the Fortress first game, now they're going for the Arden this game.
Yeah, I don't think they'll pick Grumpjaw.
Yeah, not showing their hand. They probably won't now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because but the problem with Grumpjaw is that it's a really it's not a typical pick, not at least now. And honestly, with Tension and double Tyrant Monaco, before you can actually do like a lot of burst damage, you need to. It's almost Grumpjaw is used as a counter to that of Baron, or even like mobile heroes like that of Vox. So maybe you were right. Maybe Grumpjaw will be picked up. Kestrel is banned. I mean, we saw Kestrel putting in a lot of work in the previous game as well. So I'm not surprised with Kestrel ban. But then again, I still think there are like better bans out there other than this Kestrel, because Kestrel's win rate so far hasn't been all that great. And that fight, that match that Popeyes actually won was because of a 1 second of misstep. Yeah. So it's half a second.
There were obviously other team fights that they could have won, which would have won the game, but it was just Kestrel just barely getting it before Idris could use his Shroud Step. And I think the Kestrel ban is a straight just put like a ban away from the comfort pick of because they saw that Kestrel is very comfortable playing Kestrel. Eanix is very comfortable using it, and Grace instantly picked up. That's a good pick. Grace heal with Vox is going to work well. I reckon they're going to pick Blackfeather or Idris to try and counter this Vox. I think it'd be a really good idea, and there aren't that many other great heroes. Kestrel obviously being banned away. They could try maybe a Ringo, but I think Idris or Blackfeather make the most sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Lance banned out was, I personally think that when Eanix go into a game, they actually have a team comp in mind, and then they figure out what heroes are like will pose danger or rather jeopardize the team comps, and then they just ban them out, disregarding what the enemies pick. But anyways, we are seeing an Arden being picked up, and an Idris as well. We saw Idris in the previous game. He was a really good pick coming out from the side of Team Eanix, but then it was just that one fight as well. So it all went down to the last two fights at least. So I'm not surprised if the last pick they will go for the tanky frontliner or even Glaive, because I Angry You Die plays an excellent Glaive as well, and there is no Lyra to stop Glaive. So we are actually seeing a Scarf.
Yeah, they're going to take the Scarf. They're pretty happy with how Scarf was played in the last game, so they pick it up for this game themselves. To counter this, they've got a lot of time to think about this. Obviously, they're going to go for a Crystal Power Jungler, and Blackfeather could work well. Blackfeather's all right into Idris and can dive Scarf reasonably well. I'd love to see a Batiste here. Batiste would just destroy Idris if Idris tries to dive on top of Vox, and then once if Scarf's trying to run away from Vox, the Ordained can equally be used there to just keep Scarf in place where Scarf doesn't want to be. And even better than that, if you ordain Scarf while she's using her Dragon's Breath, you lock her inside of a small circle, and she can't chase you with her Dragon's Breath, or she'll get stunned out of it. So
yeah,
that'd be a great pick. But they might go for more of a dive hero, like Attacker, or maybe they're going to go for range, like a Celeste. But I'd love to see the Batiste.
Yeah, but I personally as well, I have to agree with you. Batiste will bring so much utility. They are actually going for the Koshka. And I always hold my reservations for Koshka, because Koshka is just not that great of a late scaling heroes, and with the meta just leaning towards the late game and how the game extends past 12 to 15 minutes. I mean, Vox, yeah, he does well in the late game, and Koshka, if Koshka actually goes tanky, Aftershock, Broken Myth, and then just tank items like an Atlas Pauldron for the Idris, or even just another Fountain. She could prove as another another tanky frontliner. I want to say frontliner and tanky at the same time. It becomes Frankie liner. Okay, so so if she can become like a sub tanky frontliner with Grace at the back, just providing the extra damage reduction and etc. So team comp coming out from Popeyes, it might work out, but then again, it's just whether or not it can scale into the late game as compared to the side of Eanix, because we are seeing an Arden from Eanix, we are seeing an Idris and a Scarf. I mean, all three of these heroes are so good into the late game.
I think this is going to be all about Koshka having to invade Scarf early game and win. Like, if Koshka hasn't got 3 kills in the first 10, 12 minutes, then it's going quite poorly for her, because Koshka needs to kill Scarf in the early game, steal some jungle, and as soon as she hits level 6, rotate up to lane, get a gank onto Idris with that Yummy Cat Frenzy before he's got a block for it, and then snowball from there. It's possible. Grace Koshka has a really strong early game, because Grace has a very high movement speed, can catch up to Koshka, can slow them with her basic attacks with her A, and it can work well. Box will scale reasonably well, but obviously nowhere near as well as Scarf will. But it's going to be all about pressuring the early and making that work for them.
Yep, definitely. I mean, Koshka has to go into the other jungle in the early, and even just move up the lane. We need to see a really aggressive Koshka from the start. But I'm sure the side of Eanix actually understands this, and I'm not surprised if they would actually start roaming in 3. Just Arden coming down, just protect Scarf, when Scarf's farming. But then again, if that's the case, then Koshka would have a hard time with an engage, with an invade in the early game invade, and then we are seeing a lot of times in the current meta, there is very little early invades. It is a lot of happening in the lane itself, and that is where the Koshka doesn't quite work as well as when it was in the previous meta, where Koshka just dive in deep into the jungle and just kind of own jungle like her own.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see. I think we will see a lot of early aggression. They know that they can't just back off with this Koshka as is generally seen, but it's really hard to play Koshka successfully, because generally when you're up against someone like a Scarf knows that she's going to need to back off from you and not fight, so she's going to farm as safely as possible, and she's not going to let you steal her jungle, and she's just going to port home whenever you want to try and fight. So if that happens, Koshka then has to rotate to lane and either kill Idris or bully him so much that he loses a lot of CS. Because if Idris loses CS, he will be able to farm with Chakram quite effectively. It's definitely doable on Idris, but you would definitely lose CS if you just try and farm with your Chakram, because he needs to be basic attacking to secure those last hits. And Idris early game has horrible wave clear. Idris normally going with that Book of Eulogies and either defense or Swift Shooter. Yeah. Sometimes a Weapon Blade, but he cannot clear a wave like before the next wave comes. He's just so slow at clearing until he works towards that first Solar Blade, that you can really take advantage of that as a Koshka.
Honestly, I think what Koshka should do, instead of actually invading the jungle, because that meta is long past. I mean, granted, Koshka, you're really strong against Scarf in the early game, but then what Koshka should actually do is actually go up to lane, because I'm seeing a really good gank potential, combining both Grace and Koshka onto Idris, because Idris in the early game, you have your Shroud stat, but that's about the amount of escape you can have. So if Koshka just bully, like you said, Idris in the early game, deprive him of all the CS that he can possibly get, and then just go in and keep doing it, just cycling, the gangs over and over and over again, then they might actually have a chance to push the late game Vox into the mid game, and from there just continue on, because the CCs coming out from the side of Team Popeyes is insane, whereas on the side of Eanix, it is just a lot of zoning abilities like that from Chakram. You have a Gauntlet to zone as well, or just change the environment, and then you have Dragon's Breath as well. You can use it to zone, you can use it to damage, but generally Dragon's Breath is quite a good deterrent when anyone is trying to be aggressive. Spitfire onto Googlist as well. So both team comps, they work really differently. So I would like to see, since all the aggression now is brought up to lane, I would like to see a stronger lane presence from this Koshka as compared to, say, going into the jungle to try to bully that Scarf out of jungle.
And Grace is going straight up to lane to try and get some poke onto Trophies, and Trophies is going to be in a pretty bad position. Arden's actually deciding to take the back with Scarf, while Koshka takes a solo jungle by herself. And Trophies will be in a lot of trouble. Vox and Grace will clear this wave really quickly. And looks like they might actually rotate down to try and fight after they get the kill. So yeah, this boy's going to now go down, see if he can steal some jungle, but it's not quite up. So Trophies is going to see how well he can farm under turret. It's not easy to do, especially with it just only with having that Book of Eulogies. And actually, it's a rotation down. There's going to be some contest over this Elder Tree, but Scarf is very unlikely to try and take it. He's going to go straight onto Vainglory and getting a lot of poke. That is a nice slow from Tenderboy. And there's going to be another slow with his basic attack. And Shiggy's going very low. One more split of fire would do him. He's actually going to fall to the Arden. That's brilliant for Eanix there. Horrible for Koshka. Getting a lot of poke onto Scarf. The Scarf landing the Spitfire and the Goop to do damage onto Koshka and then try and slow her so she couldn't get that one more basic attack that was needed. And then Trophies is going to push the wave in as well as he can, and he's just probably going to back off and try and shop, because yeah, you want to get items on Idris before you really want to push the wave as hard as he.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Eanix, they definitely do understand the fact that Scarf is really poor, does poorly against a Koshka in the early game, and thus you see Rubber Monkey tagging along just to farm clear. And true enough, Koshka actually do go into the jungle to try to starve Scarf out. But I don't think that should be the way. Like I said earlier on, because it is expected, and then because Idris is left alone in lane, whereas you have like a Grace in lane, and then you have a Fox as well. You can just go in and go for the Idris.
Shiggy will pick up that Elder Tree just to get a little bit of healing, and Shiggy actually looking to rotate straight to Scarf's back. So he's noticed that Scarf has gone up the lane, and so thinking that maybe Scarf's back will respawn, or maybe he's going to catch out Scarf to a kill. So Shiggy will be in the bush, he will be not seen, he will now be seen. I knows he's in there. He's going to get a lovely Goop and Spitfire. One point going to down, Shiggy bootsing away. That's another Koshka invading the jungle that didn't work, and his boots has to now fought home and just get his own jungle. Shiggy not using effectively, because it's very well played from Rubber Monkey and Vainglory to just back off and get lots of damage onto Koshka before she can get damage on you, and force her to not be aggressive.
Yep, definitely. I mean, because this tactic doesn't work anymore. So honestly, Chingy, like I might start to sound like a broken recorder, but with all the points you just said, that Idris is so poor at lane clearing in the early game, especially with just the items that Idris normally pick up, a Book of Eulogies and then a defense or a weapon blade or a Swifty. They should actually just head up to lane and then put on pressure like Chingy is doing so.
I think she is deciding now that I'm going to try and get a kill on him. She's going to just use his shroud step away. There's a nice bang off Marshall to try and keep him alive, but even that costed just CS. He missed one on the turret. And if you could just do that a lot, if you can keep the pressure in lane so they just can't farm freely, and will hopefully be behind Vox in CS, which isn't happening at the moment. It's just actually ever slightly ahead of Vox. Then you can win the game from there. Even though Scarf is leveled up in jungle, you force Idris to lose a lot of CS and be behind your Vox, so your Vox will hit his power spike before Idris does. Trophy's just going to get away with that shroud step. Still only a roll, still needs a little bit more gold before he can pick up his sword blade, and I don't think Trophies will be heading shop until that sword blade can be picked up, because Divergent Pass being unlocked with Idris is such a big power spike that you need in order to survive in lane like this.
Yeah, there is one thing that I want to point out, is the fact that we are seeing this Idris just in lane, and then if you are actually pushing the lane towards him, and then he's forced to farm under turret, I personally think that is what gave him the superior CS as compared to Fox. So we are looking at I'm fine. So we are looking at Idris. Oh, Rubber Monkey is taken down low.
Taking a lot of damage there from all three going in. Vox getting a double shot with his Sonic Zoom, and Shiggy going in with Pouncy Fun, and Boy with Retribution and Benediction. It's just a lot of damage that is there, and if they do that in lane against Idris as opposed to in jungle against the Arden, then it could really work out. See, here the Idris is pushing the wave into turret, trying to make Vox lose CS, But this is what Koshka's going to be out of position, level 6. He's a lot of damage from Gabba Candy Frenzy, but that's a boost for the Scarf, and it's going to go to Spitfire. Shingy going very low from that, dropping low as well, but Shingy's going to pick up the kill. Argue dies pretty much full health, but now he's 1v3. Shingy's going to full. Aeon will probably pick up this kill, and will they get the ace? He's got 6 seconds to get off Monkey Run, but that's an Arden. You're going to get Arden. It's actually Aeon taking damage from the gold mine. Monkey's going to probably fall here, but he's just going to try and run around. He's actually taking the gold myself. Aeon's almost low. Vampa's going to try and pick up the kill, and he will not. He will get it. Monkey's going to get Fox there. Monkey's actually going to get away. Well done to Arden, stopping the ace and picking up the kill of his own. Using the gold mine to his advantage, though.
Yeah, I mean, using the gold mine to his advantage is one thing, and then popping a fountain, probably by the word from the teammates like Rubber Monkey, just pop the fountain. We will not fight for the next 50 or so seconds. Just pop to survive, and they did a good job. I mean, Chingy on this Koshka is doing an excellent job as well. Oh, Truffles is actually taking the trophies.
That's what
is going down.
Rotate up the lane, get a kill onto Truffy, push the wave into the turret, and possibly even get a turret. Like, Scarf's got great wave clear, but Shingy's got good tower damage as well. Just take the turret now, see 20 death onto Rubber Monkey. And see, that's a half health turret and a full wave that didn't go to Idris, it just went to Scarf instead. So that's much better from Shingy. Yummy Candy Frenzy is available again, and Idris without the reflex block can obviously use the can try and use the Simmer Strike to try and avoid it, but it's extremely hard to do because you have to tap onto the ultimate and then tap onto someone, and if you don't tap onto one of your allies, then they will get stunned instead, I believe. It's actually quite difficult to do it effectively so that you can use your Shimmer Strike as you want to do it, because it's quite hard to do it while Koshka's ulting you.
Yeah, and I personally think that Koshka should actually save his ulti, her ulti, for that of her Angry You Die when she uses the ultimate. Granted, Scarf's ultimate do not cause a lot of damage, but it causes a lot of disruptions in team fight, and then if you're on fire and then every basic attack from Scarf fans the flames.
Yummy Candy Frenzy onto Idris. It's just going to get fountain, but the silence comes out so much damage from Koshka. Gauntlet being used defensively, but Scarf is not inside. Scarf from the boost now inside the Gauntlet, and then Divine Intervention onto Shingy, 400 health. For that level 1 ultimate, no just flashing. It's just going to dive into Angry You Die. It's going to get Atlas by Artemis. He's just going to survive the tower shot, and now this should. He should not survive this time, but that will be the ace. He's not quite up. Idris respawning just after Arden fell. That will be a turret and a goal. Going over to Popeyes. Shingy deciding he's got Aftershock, got a piercing spear so that he can build defense. I'm going to pierce through it, and just using the early game of Koshka. Didn't do the early game, but got to the early mid game and is now starting to really ramp up.
Yep, definitely. I mean, this Koshka is like I said, there is nothing wrong with the Shattered Glass Koshka, I'll be honest, because it helps you scale better into the later game. A Shattered Glass into, a Broken Myth, it gives you a lot of damage, but then you lack the sustain. Whereas for Koshka, if you want the early game boost, per se, you can just grab the Aftershock and then some tier defense, tier 1 or tier 2 defense item, and then just go into a Broken Myth, and then you can be a sub-tank for the late game, so then you do not become a waste stage as a hero, because Koshka, honestly, in the late game, what can you provide is really just being there, just soaking up a lot of damage, more damage than, your tank can do.
And baiting a reflex block, that's all you do as Koshka, because they're going to block Yummy Candy Frenzy. It's one of the longest channeling abilities in the game, except obviously for the Burst of Judgment. But I think Koshka's is expected to be blocked, so he's just going to use that to bait a block out so that Hezbollah can possibly cast Holy Nova and land that, or Fox could land the Silence, which could stop a fountain being used. And so that's all Koshka really can do. But at the moment, in the mid game we're currently in, or early to mid game, that Koshka will do so much damage. There's no shield except on Angry Die, only tier 1. So Koshka can burst down whoever she wants, as long as it's not the Arden.
Yeah, so it's true. Just Aeon alone. If Chingy on this Koshka can just soak up damage from Aeon and Tazzaboy as well, just healing up Chingy when Chingy goes in and is taken down low. Then of course Aeon can just be in the back lines, just putting out a lot of damage. And we can see from the KD, there's a total of 3 to 6 kills, but then 4 kills on the side of Popeyes actually do belong to Aeon, and Aeon's job really is just to clean up afterwards and just deal damage from the back.
And 2 of the kills on Eanix are actually on the bone, which is not your. But Tuff's going to dodge the Atlas with his Shroud Step. Really good play there. Now it says Wolves is going to use the Atlas as soon as dives in with Benediction. And now Shingy's going to look to go in. Got a couple of empowered basic attacks, and there's 2 infusions for Shingy and Aeon, and there are no infusions for Tuffy's or Angie Die, so they really want to back off and not fight. Shingy's going to look to get the overall pouncing fun, and it will land. The Shroud Step not going to get a barrier, but Arden will provide that instead. Tuffy's wants to port home, wants to shot. He's got an infusion ready to pop if he does decide to fight. It looks like he's going to turn. The Gauntlet will get a double stun, lovely double stun from Arden there. And Atlas is actually going to be blocked up by the Crucible as well as walking out the Gauntlet with it. Argued are going to try and get some poke, has not got a broken mid yet, so won't be stacking that up. Shingy's going to walk around, get some movement speed from using that Pouncy Fun, Twirly Death. And they're just going to look for a gank. I think Sensible is going to start up the gold mine, but Popeyes really want to either fight or take an objective. So if they couldn't get the turret, they're going to take the gold mine and will not be contested. There's no chance them 3 was an attempt to contest this.
Yeah, I think what is happening right now for the side of Popeyes is that they are at this awkward moment in the game where Koshka cannot kind of jump in and then be safe when jumping in, but then they do not have a true engage method. Like I said before the game started, is that Grace has really good engage, but then the problem with Grace is that you go in and then you cast Holy Nova, which will be blocked out. So then you are just waiting for Chingy to go in. Chingy going in as a Koshka, bait out the reflex block, like you say, and then you go in with Benediction, and then from there you actually give your damage reduction to your allies, and then cast Holy Nova. So then it is quite a string of things that you have to do for your allies as Grace. But then I think that is what makes Grace kit as it is. I mean, the heal alone, it's one thing, but then how often can you actually just stay on the spot and for 1.5 seconds just healing up? Unless, of course, you are in the halfway through a team fight and then they are moving to another continuous team fight, you can actually do that. Whereas in the middle of the team fight, there is no way. You are just putting out a lot of CCs. That's one thing as Grace. Benediction followed by Holy Nova and your Atlas Pauldron, of course, just slow attacks. Yeah. And then just allowing your Vox to just do damage. And I think one role of Chingy here is actually just working as a pill for Vox, because if you are going to go in, then people's going to target you as well. So no one will give care for Vox, and hopefully Vox can just be in the backlines dealing out damage like that Scarf.
Yeah, one thing that's important to note is there's a double Atlas for Rubber Monkey and Truffles, one on each of them. Because Atlas is obviously very effective against Vox. Vox only with a poison shift for attack speed at the moment and just infusion. But you need to Atlas Vox because he wants to have high attack speed, and you actually want to Atlas Koshka as well. Koshka, one of the Crystal Fire heroes who needs the basic attack to do the majority of her damage. So if you Atlas Koshka, she can't get the empowered basic attacks off, and she's going to do far less damage, only going to be able to get abilities off. And they're looking to push this turret, but Scarf's got excellent wave clear. Now Idris does as well. He's got some icons. Atlas is going to land only onto Arden. She is going to do a lot of damage to the turret, and turret will fall. I don't think the Gauntlet is going to be used. They're trying to back off. Eanix deciding that even though Shiggy is low, they haven't got a turret to back to, that they don't want to use the Gauntlet to really engage at this point. Popeyes just pushing their lead as well as they can, but it's only a 4.5k gold lead, which is normally really good. You want if you're that much gold lead at 14 minutes in, you think, oh yeah, I'm winning this game, we're doing really well. But you've got a Koshka into a Scarf, so you really need to keep pushing as they're doing, and they need to wait, because once the Koshka starts to fall off, she's not going to get any better. She needs to tank up, survive as long as possible, and hope that Aeon can do the damage that Shiggy won't be able to later on.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we are starting to creep into the late game. We are 14 minutes in, 3 kills to 6, and like you said earlier on, it's a 4k gold lead in favor of Popeyes. And I have to agree with you. Chingy has to start to tank up and just to absorb and soak up damage for Aeon, so that Aeon can just deliver damage from the back lines without getting Atlas. And that is one important thing. One thing about Idris is that because Idris is a TIE hero, he can go into the back lines of Aeon and then actually Atlas him. And that is when a Vox is just useless. With attack slow on Vox cannot just put out a lot of damage, and then when Chingy starts to drop damage, which is now just picking up, having an aftershock and a broken mid, that is when you actually do not have that damage or the sufficient damage needed to take down someone like that in the early game.
Yeah, Shingy could. It's probably going to opt for a Atlas as the next item, and then maybe get a Fountain, as you said. But I would love to see Shingy actually going for a Shatterglass last item, so that because they're probably going to be ignoring Koshka, because they think, oh, it's late game, Koshka's not going to do anything. If Koshka gets a Shatterglass, and that's going to be stolen away by Trophies, nice blind Chakram Steal the Tree. Then if she goes Shatterglass last item, then she has 3 damage items, which you don't expect Koshka to get. Generally, you think she's just going to fall off towards the late game. Then, if Koshka actually does a lot of damage, then Iron Guido Trophies might be surprised by that, and so then you're not expecting it, and you're going to go much lower than you anticipated. Shingy and Tezaboy both popping Infusion. Tezaboy probably going to pick up a Shatterglass as the next item for that extra heal, but it also does damage on her Benediction, so it's not something to worry about, and that is going to be all 3 members of Eanix porting home to try and defend this turret. And Popeyes probably know that their port is now going to walk towards the Kraken. They're looking to get an early Kraken, which makes a lot of sense. They need to push this advantage, they need to get that tier 3 turret as soon as possible, and possibly even try and push for the win on this. With this push, if they get an ace, that will probably be the game.
Yeah, I personally think that if they actually do get this Kraken, and then if they play to the best of abilities, like what is said, oh god,
Echo on. And there's a double stun. Shingy is going to use the double capture to defend the enemy. Stolen by Fox. He's going to get the kill. Popeyes is going to get the double there. And then Shingy is going to be healed by 750 health there. There's no mortal wound. Iron Guido's going to go low. That will be the ace going over to Popeyes. That was exactly what they needed. They took the Kraken, even though Arda did a fantastic gauntlet, made out the reflex block. Second gauntlet for the double stun. Shingy's just survived just about. Got the divine intervention when she was low. And then Tezaboy can tank this turret for a very long time, but Eon's actually doing it now. And it's going to be a full health Kraken marching down into these 2 Vayne turrets, and actually going to be 1 turret the Kraken has to get through, and then the Vayne. So I reckon if Popeyes just wait, they don't need to fight, they just need to wait a bit, let the Kraken bash on the turrets, not get poked down, and they can probably take this game.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Scarf alone. Scarf is only sitting on 2 damage items, so the Spitfires and group, granted, you can stay in a fight for a really long time. Oh, Chingy is actually going in, Chingy gets really low.
Chingy's going to basically fall, she's just going to run around, trying to get as much of the base as possible. That is going to be the Atlas onto Vox, but Vox is going to get as much damage onto the Vayne. Tezaboy's going to do the same job. He's probably going to fall, just to try and take as much damage as possible. That's a lovely goon by Scarf. They may take down this Kraken. Scarf does an awful lot of damage, so does Coffee. And the Kraken needs 2 more shots. It will only get 1. That will not be the game going over to the side of Popeyes. Koshka just trying to dive in on the turret. Possibly could have waited a bit longer. And Divine Intervention was casted on Aeon, but couldn't save his life because a lovely Atlas from Trophies to make sure Vox couldn't just take the Vayne down as quickly as he might have wanted to. But that is 5 turrets still standing for Popeyes. They probably won't lose one. It was just jungle cleared by Eanix, and there's an exposed Vayne, so just possibly they get 1 kill, Popeyes get 1 kill, and they can just push for the win here.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
They can try a backdoor, which
I mean, just looking at Iron Guido's build on this Scarf, and he just actually got this Frostburn from the Kraken kill. So honestly, early on he had no damage at all. I mean, we just saw all the Spitfires coming out, and it's almost used for zoning properties. There was no true damage. Trophies was the one that's putting out a lot of the damage. I mean, just looking at Trophies build, he has a Poison Shift, Tension Bow, and Sorrow Blade. So they might actually be looking for a fight right now, and they have to, just taking 1 down, they would have the play advantage, and then they can just push for this crystal.
Yeah, Iron Guido now has 3 damage items. Trump's going to get Atlas actually a miss on but that's going to be utterly stunned by Alpha's Gauntlet. He's got his Echo up, so he's going to use another Gauntlet if it's needed. Though it is going to be trying to just keep Scarf outside of the range of Shingy. She's going to get a lovely kill down back to full health on one of the base. The other Kenny is not blocked, and that is going to be Scarf falling. Truff is going to boot towards his Vayne, but that's where Popeyes want to go as well. Shingy is going to dodge the Chakram. Pouncy Fun is up now. Truff is going to fall. That's the 20 there. Going to be 1 more Empower basic attack. Going to block, and he's going to use the charm. Shingy getting the kill. That is the ace and the game for Popeyes. Koshka, even though we said she might fall off, we're now just about getting towards the late game. But Koshka did enough damage to land the uppercut frenzy. It was not blocked by Iron Guido, and then Aeon on Vox could just burst her down. If Scarf's not doing damage, if Scarf's stunned up, she's going to fall. Doesn't matter what late game you're in. Koshka's still going to do a lot of damage, and very well played to Popeyes. They do take game 2.
Yeah, I mean, very well played. Like I said earlier on, if Chingy actually went for the aftershock, broken myth, and then tank up afterwards, and then instead of invading the jungle, just head on to lane to try to stuff trophies on this Idris, and they did a rather decent job. I mean, granted, he's still sitting at 183 CS, but then just looking at his items alone and looking at his KD, it says a lot about how well and efficient Chingy on this Koshka was playing. So so honestly, there is really nothing quite surprising coming out from both of this side, except for one thing. Tezza Boy on this Grace, I was hoping Tezza Boy to actually build into a Shattered Glass as early as possible, because honestly, even if you do actually have an Atlas Pauldron, you go in with Benediction and then you go with Holy Nova, your allies could have already taken that trophies down instead of actually just spending a gold on Atlas Pauldron instead of buying a Shattered Glass to sustain your allies longer. But anyways, that is from my point of view. What about you?
I really like the Atlas Pauldron because obviously if you get into Idris is countered hard by Atlases. Idris, as we said, a great counter to most weapon power laners.
Yeah.
He will beat Vox in a 1v1 almost every time pretty much. But if you get to Atlas Idris, then he will not do anywhere near as much damage. All he can do is try and chakram and get basic attacks with his when he uses Shroud Step and maybe after he's done a Shimmer Strike. But if you Atlas him, he can't kill Vox. But similarly with Vox, if you Atlas him, he can't Glitter, so it's kind of a stalemate once if you Atlas both of them. But I think the fact that Aeon could heal up, Kashingi has little health, as Koshka, you're very squishy as an assassin. You don't have much health, so if you get a 700 heal, that heals you almost to full health. So the Shattered Glass taking it up to 900 isn't really that necessary. And once it gets a late game, the level 3 heal already gives you that 900, so that's almost as much as needed for Koshka.
Yeah.
So I think the Shattered Glass wasn't as necessary as Atlas in this case to try and just hard counter the Idris.
Yeah, but then because like I'm seeing in this match that the Atlas Pauldron is constantly blocked out. But then again, of course, having an Atlas on a roam is always a good thing. It's more for countermeasure, safe measure, instead of whether or not you worry Atlas Pauldron is blocked out or not. But anyways,
if you block it, then Yummy Cat Frenzy is not going to be blocked. So
yeah. But anyways, that is all that we have for today. Join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. for our semi-finals. Artisan will be going up against Infamous, and then for our semi-final 2 match at 6:30, we have Popeyes going up against Elite 8. We'll be witnessing the third place match as well, and the finals at 9:30 SGT, approximately 9:30 SGT.